Hi, my name is Fred Ermlich, and this video serves several purposes. One, it's a proof of concept for remote learning, for me to do remote mentoring or teaching. And it's also a prospectus because I'm seeking funding. This is my telephone, doesn't take pictures anymore, and this laptop is going to die one of these days. And so I wanted to get this memorialized, what I'm doing, and in one fell swoop, show the way that I connect with students and also with the wealthy people that I'm going to be approaching for funding so that I can actually buy tripods and 3 cameras and 2 laptops and even eventually, or maybe not eventually, pretty much early on, um, hire. I'm living in a small village near Las Tablas in Panama, although I grew up in the United States, and most of my education was in California and Oregon, and so I'm familiar with the English system of measurements. But here in Panama, it's a metric system, and that's one thing I want to pass along. And it was hard for me because I had COVID-19. I had long term. I got that in January of 2020. And by October of 2020, I was more or less recovering pretty well from it. And um, I hopped on a plane and moved to Panama close to 2 years ago. And and really, the having COVID-19 changed my body in a lot of ways. But it left me with the COVID brain too, the brain fog. And so when I started climbing out of all that and appreciating that I was no longer overweight, I'm still slender, and I'm just thankful for that. And I had a booster shot, and that um, not too long ago, a couple months ago, and it brought back some of the mind fog from COVID. But I'll get another booster shots pretty soon because I might be traveling. At any rate, the one thing is that I lost my algebra ability, and so here I am in Panama where everything's in kilometers, and I'm trying to figure out how many kilometers are in a mile, and that's what this lesson is all about: is the big fraction method of resolving. It's called dimensional analysis. Like when I took physics at Portland State University in Oregon, um, it was called dimensional analysis, and it's a wonderful tool, and it's easy to teach, and it makes you, my students, it's very empowering because you can manipulate things, and when those story problems where you're rowing a boat across the river, but the cross current of the river shifts you at 2 kilometers per hour or something. So how far down the bank will you land on the other side? Those kinds of math problems are not a problem if you have dimensional analysis. And the only place I've seen it be real sensible, a little bit in chemistry, but definitely in physics, you have to use it. And so I'll start out with the intro right here. Okay. And I'll read it to you too. Come on now. I use pillows and all kinds of stuff to prop it up. And yes, I'm in Panama, and so I don't wear a shirt because it's warm here. Okay. And also, when I'm doing these commercially, some of these will be standalone lessons that people can just simply view or download and view. Hopefully, there won't be any charges for it. If I get funding, and I'm looking for $1 million funding just because of that perceived value deal, and really it would let me I'm old now. I'm heading into 69 years old, and so this will be my last big project. And there's a lot of just brilliant computer people around um, this little tiny pueblo in Panama. So the tremendous resources and really the infrastructure, the equipment, cameras, because of the canal, I think, and just because of trade, um, it's incredibly. I mean, if somebody says it's going to be $350 for this laptop, then you just say, uh-huh. And then when it comes time to actually pay the money, you say, I can do $250. And they use US dollars in Panama. And so this is the right place to be. And cameras, tripods, and all that stuff. And there's a lot of people that are really competent. I mean, people that make videos for TikTok. So I got to make sure they don't do all that mind warping stuff on my stuff. But no, a lot of real good brains here. Um, big fractions is what I call it. So I wanted to know how many kilometers in a mile, since they use kilometers where I live. But post COVID-19, my math deserted me. I do remember that there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch and 5,280 feet in a mile. The metric units explain themselves in dead languages, mostly Latin, I think. I should know, I took all kinds of years of Latin. Centi means 100, like well, see, it can, I mean, 1/100, but a centipede implies that it's, well, that's Latin. It means 100 feet, but not the measurement foot. I mean, actual feet on the, we have all kinds of, no, we have millipedes here, which means 1,000 little footsies. A kilo is 1,000. So, but a centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. So the centi is kind of, I don't know, once you get used to these, then you won't get confused. Then page 2. I need to be able, I think that you've got to use big fractions, and you need to be able to, I need to be able to write, and I want the students to see me writing, because this is all, okay, what am I going to write? This is how it's done. I swear a lot of these online learning sites, and I'm a teacher in some of them. I mean, I signed up a year ago, but the teachers, for one thing, are not competent enough in their sciences and mathematics to be teaching. So that's a problem. But also they get tangled up in their technology. They're trying to put big fraction stuff into the technology to do it electronically so it gets generated. And that really does not work. It just simply doesn't work because I got a perfect score in a whole year of physics, first year physics at Portland State, and a perfect score. I didn't ever get anything wrong on a total of 6 tests, 3 midterms and 3 final exams. And same way in math classes, perfect score. Now, here's what I know. Here's what my goal is. I want to see if I can upset. Okay, goal. My goal is that I remember there's 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. Now, how many kilometers? So a centimeter is 100th of a meter. A kilometer is 1,000 meters. So that means it's 100,000 times. Okay, you'll see. Okay, how many kilometers in a mile? Mi, mile. Now, to get 1 inch into miles, there's 12 inches in a foot, 5,200. 12 inches equals 1 foot, and 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. It's important to make your numerals readable. So you can cross your zeros and you cross your sevens. And I put a head and a foot on a 1 mostly. And then you've got to pay attention whether you're using capital letters or small letters. It can matter sometimes, but we won't really have any kind of fits over this. Now the way I do this problem is, you see, this is why you need scratch paper, 2.54 centimeters. Now I'm going to get sloppy because it's an awkward position. Centimeters. So this is a dividing line here. Okay. This is how you do this. Per inch. I won't put a 1 in front of it because if I just write inch, it's implied that there's a 1. Times. There's 100 centimeters in a meter. Okay, so I'm using a small m for meter. Times, I'm using x for times. 1, okay, kilometer. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Okay, this is a true statement. There's 2.5 centimeters in an inch. There's 100 centimeters in a meter. And there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Okay, now what I've done is made sure that now what you do when you times these is that you just make this one big bar, and then you're timesing everything on top, and you're timesing everything on the bottom. So inch times centimeter times meter, and up here you have a centimeter. Centimeter divided by a centimeter is 1. What you do is you just get rid of it. And let's see. Now we have, bear with me here. Here we have a meter on top. Here we have a meter on the bottom. We get rid of that. Here's a kilometer, and here's an inch. So I forgot to get the miles. Oh, inch. I've got to get the 12 inches in it too. 12 inches. I'm going to put 12 inches in 1 foot. See, I tell you, you need a lot of real estate times. And then I need to get, that's the 12. What else do I need? 12 inches in a foot. 5,280 feet in a mile. 50 to 80. Oops, I better put that for feet in a mile. Now let's see what Okay, there's this feet out, crosses out that one, and now I have a mile. Feet in a mile. The feet disappeared. See, I have inch miles. Here's an inch. So now I just have what's left. Kilometers on top, miles on the bottom, and that was my goal. So now, holy moly. See, I'm still fuzzy. My brain is still fuzzy. But that's only fair. I always was like, the super student. Now I'm equal to all my students, and some of them are superior to me. So what the heck? Now, uh, 12, 2.54. 12, 2.54. 5,280. Readable. 100 times 1,000, which is 100,000. Now, what units do we have? Kilometers, miles, and okay, a little dot also means multiplied. 12. So that would be, if it was 10 times 2.54, that would be 25, roughly, times 5,280. So divide that by 4, that would be it. Like about 1,300, roughly. Let me see. What do I get? Yeah, and actually the answer is 1/6, and it really is 1/6 if you don't round everything. Kilometers. When you divide everything out, um, it's 12 times 2.54. 5 times 12 is 60, and 12 and 12 is 24. That's 300, but there's a decimal, so we'll just call it 30. 50 to 80 feet times 30. 0, 0. 158,000, which is meters. Okay, wait, equals let's just call it, I'm going to call it 160 because it really works out to that. 160. 160,000 kilometers in zero. Ah, I mean 10000. 1.6 kilometers per mile. There's a little more than 1.5 kilometers in a mile. And if you turn that upside down, then there's a 0.62 miles equals a kilometer. You just take the inverse of that. You just go 1.6 divided by 1. Uh, Never mind, I lost myself on that one. Hey, nobody's perfect. Anyway, a mile is a little over 1.5 kilometers, and point, what is it? 0.62 miles, roughly speaking, is 1 kilometer. So those are the two numbers that you need. And I apologize for my confusion, but look, this takes some practice. And for me, I'm practicing from scratch anyway. Um, and so even if I've confused you here, that's okay because I can give you, this is a hardcore example. I mean, we're just talking about distance measurements, and it's not rocket science exactly, but it is. NASA had some real problems with Mars orbiters and Mars landers because they had one group of scientists that were working in the metric system, another one working in the English system, and they didn't communicate properly. And they turned on the retro rockets for too long, and the Mars orbiter crashed into Mars. So it is rocket science. And that's why I'm not freaking out because I've gotten older and the COVID stuff, that I'm not as sharp as I used to be. But that puts me equal to my students. And well, some of them are way smarter than me. There are some pretty brilliant people out there. So anyway, I don't think this is such a bad way to do these things. So this is what I'm doing. See, I'm old, but not that old. Yes, I am. And this is just a primitive setup. It's just, I'm a two-dimensional person. I have to admit that I live on the floor and I have all my life. So it gets messy at times. But it's in this paradise of Panama. I should give you a look out the window while I'm here. The nice thing about Panama, it's very pleasant weather. Global warming is not a problem here. Oh man, you should move here. The people are fantastic. The government leaves you alone. I'm not even legal here. I don't have citizenship. I can't even go to a doctor or anything. So these are what the houses look like here. This is called Los Bosques, which means the forest, and it's beautiful, beautiful place. Let me see. Out my back door is right out my back door. There is, I don't know what you can see. Oh well, it'll have to do. Um, it's cow pastures. Then there's a river, probably not what you think of as a river. It's kind of a muddy, torpid thing, except when it rains, torrential rains. Then it turns, oh man, it takes trees down. But anyway, there's cattle out there. And the trees here are just, they look like mountains when it gets dark at night. And I'll see a mountain in the distance. And it's one tree. I mean, a tree could be half mile, a kilometer away. And, and, uh, and it looks like a mountain until you see lightning bugs flashing inside of it. So, but then there are real mountains that look just the same. And cats, there's too many cats here. I don't like cats. Alrighty. See, I'm senile. I'm trying to explain that. Well, so this is what I'm doing. And see, this is why I need to have a classroom. And that's another good thing about Panama. I can just put some tables and chairs out on my front porch or even in the living room. There's nothing in it right now. Let me look. I think I can unplug this and walk around. Should. Okay. Um, let's see. See, here's my living room. Comes complete with a dog too. Where's the dog? Let's see. Where's the dog? There's a dog. Okay. I never had a dog before. Right, pup? Anyway, now I do. My first dog ever. And then let's see. Oh, I do a lot of gardening. Let's see. What the heck? It's very hot and humid. Well, this is it, Los Bosques. It is very humid and feels like it's, well, got to do conversions. I'll just leave it in English. It's probably heading towards 80 degrees. Another thing about Panama, everybody is very responsible and they wear masks. So I always have a mask. I always have several stuffed into my pocket. But yeah, see, I can make this into a classroom if inclement weather, but definitely I can turn this patio, the front porch into a classroom. And there's all kinds of little schools. There's a woman who does computer work, and next door to her, there's a classroom where there's a bunch of really young kids, maybe 5, 6 years old, and she's teaching them mathematics. And and I come and watch the show, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, I really like it here. And another thing is when I said I'm an illegal, I'm not a citizen of Panama, but if I got funding for this project, then I'd be able to, well, money talks in Panama. I'd be able to get a cedula, which would give me all the rights of a citizen, except I don't think you can vote. But I've never noticed a government. They, Panama and Costa Rica has one thing in common. They have no army whatsoever, no army. There are state police who I would say they'd make pretty good soldiers. And but in terms of, I mean, government regulation, building codes, there's nothing. I don't see any rules at all living here, but Panamanians are smart people and um, they behave themselves. They have, it's a Latin country. It's a different system. If you're an American expat like I am, it takes a while to acclimate to it, but it's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place, and everything self-regulates. And if you don't like your neighbor getting, having big fiestas, loud music that starts on Friday night and continues through Sunday night, And if that gets, and street vendors with their megaphones and speakers in their trucks come cruising through. If you have any troubles with any of that stuff, it's kind of like too bad because there's no rules. People can do that, and really, it's pretty cool because um, you can buy shrimp and seafood and all kinds of stuff. I mean, totally just hours from being harvested from the ocean or from a river, and um, and be cooking it. It's uh, it's really hard to explain. I know that there's a farmer, sort of a truck farmer, except he doesn't have a truck, but he has a farm mm, at the other side of town. It's a long walk, but one time I bought $9 worth of vegetables from him, and it weighed a lot of kilos. It made my arms go numb. I put it in a backpack, and it just was so heavy. $9. So a whole chicken costs about $6. And I've been eating a lot of pork, and that's pretty inexpensive. So, but you need to have some sort of money, and I can't earn money in this country yet. So that's another motivation, but money's never motivated me. In this case, it motivates me in a professional kind of way. All right, I'll let you go, and I thank you for listening. Once again, I'm Fred Ermlich. My email is gargoyleplex@protonmail.com. GARGOYLPLEX, gargoyleplex at protonmail.com. And I basically monitor that email only. I have dozens of emails, but that one is for everything, and I try to keep it cleaned up. It's a free email. So that's all I have to say, and thank you again, and I'm signing off. If I can find my name. Ah, okay.